I know from my experience at least that when I married my wife, her family accepted me with open arms into their family. And 7 years later, I feel very grateful for my new Filipino family. But unfortunately, not all guys feel the same way. And I think it's something that we should talk about here in this video, as it's certainly a very important subject that will be of concern to anyone who decides to marry a Filipina. And in this video, you can be sure that I'm going to call it as I see it. So be sure to buckle up and stay with me here. Just quickly, if you're in the USA and have a Filipina fiancé in the Philippines, then why not consider using the expertise of my friends at Filipino Visa to bring your Filipina to be with you in the US via a K1 visa. Using an experienced and professional migration service can certainly make all the difference. To book your free 15-minute no obligation consultation, be sure to check out my affiliate link in the pinned comment and description. I hear some guys who will openly say that they won't help out their new Filipino family in any way. And some say they are his wife's family and not his. Now to me, this is absolutely astounding, and I just don't understand their mindset. Did I miss the memo somewhere that says you don't get in-laws when you marry someone? Anyone, anywhere in the world? Now I'll bet that if the guy had previously been married to a woman of the same nationality in his country, he would have accepted his in-laws there, or at least in some capacity. But to me, these guys basically write off or ignore the fact that they have in-laws, and all for what? Because he's scared that they may want something from him? Does he really think that all Filipino people, because they live in a developing country, want something from him? And even if he marries into one of those families, then surely he's big enough and brave enough to say no when required. But not to acknowledge the family as part of his family, to me, is very hurtful and disrespectful, not only to the family, but also to his wife. Does he not think that over time she'll resent him for this? And does he not consider how this can impact on his wife's relationship with her family? In my view, it really does put the wife in a terrible situation and stuck right in the middle. But I bet for many of these guys, they never even consider the position that it puts her in because he's plainly selfish. One needs to understand that she loves her family and always will. And you don't want to be responsible for driving a wedge between your wife and her family. Is it really all that hard to be accepting of a new family? And yes, sure, there may be times when they may need a little help in life, but that's certainly nothing to be scared or worried about. And really, anyone with half a brain can manage any money requests that may come from his new family by discussing this with his wife. It's certainly not that hard. But really, to say things like they're my wife's family and not mine is a terrible approach, and for sure tells me that the man is looking to dominate the relationship and to do things as he likes without any consideration for anyone else. Honestly, if you feel this way, then you should not enter into any sort of relationship with a Filipina, especially marriage. We all know how close Filipino people are to their families, and Filipinas are no exception to this, even when she's married to you. For me, I had no hesitation whatsoever when I married my wife in accepting her family now as my family. And as I say, they were so welcoming of me right from the start, with most family members wanting nothing whatsoever from me. They were happy that their family member had found happiness with a good man where she'll have a good future. And yes, they were most certainly very pleased that we had found happiness together. I now look back and see how fond I've become of my Filipino family, and yes, I'm proud to call them my family. The bond that we've forged together is like that of any family where we genuinely care for one another without any expectations. Yes, it takes a little time to get to this point, as any relationship certainly takes some time to forge. When I see comments from guys who won't acknowledge his Filipino family, I sit back and look at how much I would have lost if I had that same attitude. I have no doubt that my Filipino family has enriched my life and taught me how close families can be, which I had forgotten, to be honest. Sure, Filipino families have their arguments and don't always see eye to eye, but no one questions their love for one another, and they're always happy to lend a hand when one is in trouble. Some foreign guys will learn this the hard way if they are in a pub drinking and they insult a guy in some way. Before you know it, you'll have several of his family members around you demanding an apology. Simply having and accepting my Filipino family makes my life better for me personally, as well as I know my wife appreciates the fact that I do genuinely care for them. And that all helps for our relationship to be stronger. But yes, as I said earlier, there must be limits to what help you can provide, as you can't be used for an ATM by some families. It can be true that at first, some family members may view you as rich, but over time, they'll come to understand that you won't be helping everyone all of the time. And if you and your wife manage these requests that come in and say no where needed, then eventually you and the family get on the same page and have a very good relationship together. Simply, what I want to say is, guys have no need to fear that all they want is your money, because for many Filipino families that's not so. And if you and your wife handle things correctly, this won't become a problem. We all know how money and family issues can be two of the most common reasons why relationships fall over. And really, this comes down to lack of effective communication together on these issues. If you and your wife are on the same page, then you can be assured that your Filipino family will also get on the same page in time. My advice, for what it's worth, is that you really have much to gain here by fully accepting your new Filipino family, as it will really start to make you feel very good inside, as well as strengthening your relationship with your wife. Filipinos just seem to do this whole family thing very well, and I certainly want to continue to be a part of that. And to my family in the Philippines, I want you to know that I love and care for you guys and really appreciate what each of you have given to me. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.